So welcome to the second part. So Danny, why do you think, in your experience, why do you think so many spiritual teachers or healers or people who change after they change their career, they're not making money at all, or they make very little money, like I did?
That's a question I do get asked quite a few times and quite frequently, and I believe that the main thing is that before you choose to do something different, or you tap into your passion, or you tap into your purpose, the thing is, why do you want to do it? So if you're getting into spiritual work, like you say, the first question I would ask is why.
I heard that
Why do you want to do it?
many friends of mine who are spiritual teachers or healers, they would say, I don't want a job anymore. I don't want to work for somebody. It's so blah, blah, blah. So is it a good reason?
Well, I think the way I would look at it is that discover what your purpose is, discover what your passion is. If spirituality, or doing like healing work, Reiki, whatever that is, that's your passion, that's your purpose, do it. The other thing is, I've noticed that people find it a little bit uncomfortable to charge money for spiritual work. And I've had this comment come to me many times. They say, I'm doing spiritual work, and how can I charge so much money? Because there's this internal resistance in people, which is a subconscious resistance, and they feel guilty when they charge money for spiritual work. And in my opinion, that's not necessary, because you're giving value. So like going to a doctor and you're going to get an operation done, he's not going to give it to you for free. So it's like a similar service you're giving. In fact, this is more powerful because you're transforming somebody else's life, right? So it's a limiting belief that people have that charging money for spiritual work is shameful, or it creates a sense of guilt. And I say we need to overcome that. We need to overcome that. And that's quite important. And I have a lot of people are telling me exactly the same thing.
I actually, from time to time, I got an audience ask me, oh, can I talk to the my guest?
Yeah.
The guest in my show. And my relationship with my husband really bad, really screwed up. And so, can I talk to the guest? And I was like, yeah, you can talk to the guest. You just pay them. They expect, like, can I chat with them?
Yes.
I said, no, you cannot chat with them. They're very busy professional people. You have to make an appointment, and then you have to pay them.
See, no. Basically, the one thing that I talk about in my workshop is like what need you're trying to fulfill. Like people have various needs: need for certainty, need for significance, need for growth or contribution. What need in your life you're trying to fulfill? Yeah. And when we come, like people like us, what we do is we come from a need of growth and contribution. We want to grow ourselves and we want to contribute to society. And when you're in that element, and when you're in that frame of mind, things start changing for you, because you're not just doing it for the money. You're not just doing it for fame or fortune, but you're doing it because you want to grow and when you contribute to the world. So the money and the fame is on the sidelines that comes to you when you do this work, right?
How about you?
About me.
Yeah, you were so successful in the banking business, and then you got 3 daughters to raise. So, what made you change your field?
Well,
I can imagine, like, you must be like the paycheck must be good, right?
Yes. Well, yes. Well, it was.
I miss it.
Nice. It was
actually
nice.
I miss it.
It was nice, but I always wanted to have my own business. And that was something that I've been planning for the past 4 to 5 years. But the thing is, I did not know what I wanted to do.
Even you?
Yeah. So at some point, of course, we go through a stage of discovery, right? And I said, what do I really want to do? And during the last 4 or 5 years, I kind of said, all right, this is something I really enjoy. Personal development work I enjoy. I was good at it even in my organization. And when the time came when I wanted to leave the organization, I said this is the best time to start my own work, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that you can do this work even when you're in a job. I was coaching when I was also in my banking job, so it's like I'm providing a service. So, but for me to start my own business on entrepreneurship and be able to do this work at a higher level, at a more global level, was something that I really aspired for. That's what really changed for me. That's what really moved for me, because I was said, now I'm in line with what I really want to do. I'm in line with my purpose. This is what I'm passionate about, and this is what I'm good at. So you make the choice, and at some point in time, sometimes in life you have to take a risk. You have to see what life is about. 80% of the people. Somebody was mentioning the statistic that when people are closer to the end of their lives and they're asked, "What's your biggest regret?" It's not about what they've done. It's about what they didn't do. Yeah. So if you've got a dream, if you've got something you really want to do, just go out there and do it. If it doesn't work, do something else.
So what kind of people or what kind of clients they will come to you? Like what kind of problems or what kind of challenges they will have that you will help them?
Sure. So
that?
basically I work a lot with corporate executives, senior level corporate executives who come to me either for business things, business problems, for leadership, or they're just having a challenging time in getting their jobs done. So I work with them. I work for women empowerment a lot. A lot of my clients are women, because I believe this is the decade of the woman, and women are really rising up in the corporate ladder and even entrepreneurship. I work with young entrepreneurs who are just starting their businesses, and personal coaches. So I'm going to be floating out a personal coaching program where I'm training people to become coaches, because a lot of people come to me and say they want to do what I'm doing. So right now I'm launching a program where I'm going to help people become coaches as well.
But they must be, how should I say, like they must be professional in a certain way, right? Because I heard a lot of people say, I want to be a coach. I want to be a business coach. I want to be a personal coach or a style coach,
yes.
Which I have no idea what it is. And then the most important thing is they must be good at something, right?
Yeah, so the most important thing is, why do you want to do it?
Yeah, why do you want to do
So
it? You must be very good at that, because the competition in anywhere is vigorous.
Sure.
You have to be good, not just, we're not selling dreams like, oh, do whatever you want and then you can achieve it. No, because there are reality too.
Absolutely.
Like the accounting, and then you have to pay your rent, and then a lot of expenses.
Yes, that's absolutely true. So I think the first fundamental thing is why you want to do it.
Yes.
What's the reason? What's the purpose? Why do you want to do it?
Is there anyone that came to you, like after you asked them the why, and then they couldn't answer, and then they just give up?
Well,
and is it possible, or you don't do that? You just encourage them to make a move?
No, I think the most important thing is I do try to understand where they're coming from and what's the reason they want to do the work, because that's really important, because that tells me whether they are interested or they're committed. There's a difference between being interested and being committed, right? So I like to work with people who are committed.
I like that, interested or committed.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people who come to me because they're interested in knowing the stuff, or how do I do this, how do I do that. But what's important is to see how committed you are to make that shift. Because sometimes it could be a little bit difficult. It could be challenging. It's like going from a corporate world into entrepreneurship requires a different set of skills, a different mindset, and a different way of thinking. And I had that same challenge myself, because coming from a corporate world, you have 300 people at your beck and call. Suddenly, when you're an entrepreneur, you have no one at your beck and call. So those are skills you need to learn. But I think it's having the belief in the fact that what you're doing is of value, and that's you enjoy doing it. That's what basically makes you go forward. Yeah. So I think that's the key thing. And when I work with people and they ask me this question about, I want to become. I want to do what you're doing, or become an entrepreneur. Our first thing is, why do you want to do it? Yeah, and we go through similar things that we did in the workshop.
Yes.
And then they get very clear. Now they're really focused that this is exactly what's going to work for me.
So there's one exercise I really, really, really love. I'm going to share a little bit with you, which is, I guess it's the setting priorities. Like you ask us what we really want, like
goal setting.
Yeah, it's a goal setting. Like we have to close our eyes and then we think about if I have no career and then I can spend the rest of my life with my boyfriend in the beach, how does it feel? That kind of question.
Yeah. So
because sometimes we have priorities, but it comes from our mental
passion test.
Yeah. That's
when we did the passions, and we were trying to identify our passions, and sometimes you were not sure whether. When we were ranking the passions as to 1, 2, 3, or 5, which is my main passion, and there was a confusion between say you had two passions, but you didn't know which one was more important to you.
Yeah, and which one is real?
Yeah, which one is more? Which one speaks to you more?
Yeah.
And that's when we kind
I
of.
think that one is really powerful.
Yeah.
Can we share about that?
Sure. So this is basically.
This is for free, so stay.
So this is basically called the Passion Test, that was produced by Janet Atwood, Chris and Janet Atwood, and it's a book. You can actually get a book for that. And I did this training when I was working with Jack Canfield, and it was very powerful because you are able to
Yes, you're right.
number one, identify your passions as is what you're passionate about, but at the same time be able to get clear on exactly what it is that you want to do by identifying your passions really clearly. So you might be in a corporate job that might be paying your rent, that might be giving you a decent salary, but it's not really giving you the happiness and the fulfillment that you need. So you might have a talent in being a musician, you might have a talent in being a speaker or a coach or whatever, and when you do the passion test, those talents, that potential actually starts coming out of you, and you say, wow, this is what I really enjoy, this is what I really like, this is what I'm good at doing, and you start tapping into that. And that's what happened with you, where you kind of had a shift when you said, wow, this is what I'm really, really passionate about, and how do I grow this further? Yeah. So passions you could always balance with your your corporate job as well, if that's what you like. It doesn't necessarily have to be that you leave everything and go into that, but it's a choice you make.
So this is very interesting. So for me, I wrote down 5 things.
Okay.
I remember the first thing is public speaking on stage.
Right.
I thought it's my talk show, but it's not actually. Because in my talk show, we don't have people here, especially today. Sometimes we have audience, but today we don't have any audience. But on the stage, when it comes to like 100 people and hundreds of people, I feel so high. So my first priority is writing on stage. And then the second one is spiritual money, which is exactly what we're doing now.
Spiritual money.
Because I'm so interested in spirituality, and I'm so interested in money ever since I was a kid. But I wasn't a greedy kid. Now I know I'm actually so interested in money as an energy. Because money is a creative flow of energy.
Money is energy.
It is energy. It's not just a piece of paper
Right.
or your plastic card, but it's a lot more behind that. And also, I just find that in my younger life, that money really controls our family. Like the whole family working for money and then struggling about money, and then my father was a businessman. Like I was so interested, like why a piece of paper or a coin or a number can control the whole family happiness. So that's why I'm so into it. And then I just find that I'm giving it too much power. I'm feeding it like money. I'm feeding money too much power. That takes away my own power. Anyway, so it's very interesting.
So the question you ask is that, okay, we've all got all this money, but am I really happy?
Yeah.
That's the question people don't ask themselves.
And then it applies to anything.
Yeah.
Like the fourth one is being with my lover. So relationship and family really not my first priority. And I have to deal with that because sometimes as a Chinese woman, I feel guilty. I feel guilty like I'm not having a family on my own. I'm not having children on my own, and I should be, and I should have. And then I remember I came out as and to do a demo for the other students, and I really like it when you ask me to don't trust this, but just close your eyes and then feel your heart, like then set the priorities.
Yes, because feelings never lie. The mind can play tricks on you, but your feelings never lie. So that's why when we do this training, it's called experiential training, because you might forget what you see, you might forget what you hear, but you'll never forget how you make somebody feel. So that's why we go through an experience, and the feeling that comes up when you actually do this exercise, whether this really resonates with me or it doesn't resonate with me. And I think you did a pretty good job, because I can see from all the work you've done is that now you are having quite a balanced or passionate life, because you've looked at all your passions and you're starting to take action on that. which is exactly what we want people to do, to act on their passions, because that's going to give you more fulfillment, more happiness, more abundance, more opportunities, and more prosperity.
And also after a few months, I graduated from the workshop, I finished the workshop, and it is from July, right?
Yes.
And then this is now October, so 3 months
Right.
from our graduation, and the goals change a little. This priorities, the top 5, change a little.
That's okay.
And I just find that in my whole life, I never really pay attention to my happiness. I only know that, I got to be good, I got to be great, I got to be successful so as to make my mom happy, and so as to make my family, proud of me.
Yeah.
Every family got is it black horse in English?
Black sheep.
A black sheep. Black horse is the bad one.
The black sheep is the bad one.
Oh, the black horse I'm talking about. So
right.
I gotta be the black horse in the family. Okay. And then I just find that I forgot how to be happy. And now I'm actually, the 5th one is spending time in the ocean the whole afternoon. I remember you said you were a beach bum?
Yes. Yeah. You don't want to say that on television, but yes. I enjoy beaches a lot, yeah.
Okay. And then I just find that, hey, I like it too. And I like traveling. That I didn't travel for like 18 years.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah.
When I was so successful and rich, when I got money, I have no time. And then after I left the business world, I dare not spend the money to play. And then playing is never on any of my priority.
Right.
And then now, my mom's gone, and then my talk show is so mature now and on the right path. And I started to think, why don't I play? I never travel for fun. I never travel to see the snow or to see what's happening in Japan or what to eat.
Yeah.
And I started to add it back like, hey, I really like to travel a bit.
Yeah.
And to have fun.
Yeah, so that's why when we do goal setting, I dedicate a part to free time, right? We have goals that we create on free time, fun time, recreation, and that's basically to encourage people to celebrate success.
It wasn't here. You want
to celebrate success. We have it in the goal setting part. So how do you celebrate success? And that's really, really important. The biggest benefit is that you're actually, you're appreciating yourself, you're appreciating other people for your success, but at the same time, when you're just having fun, when you're just enjoying, there's a sense of freedom, there's a sense of happiness, and there's a sense of inspiration that for me, usually when I'm say traveling for fun, I get the best ideas when I'm doing that.
I actually started to believe, like, I was involved in the so-called spirituality since like 92 when I did the life dynamics. And then I remember somebody said, some of the guru, he says, the universe would do anything to make us happy. Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, that's a good idea. And the universe does make Madonna happy, and then makes not even Michael Jackson. I don't think he was happy. And the universe would do anything to make me happy. But only lately I started to see that could be true to me. Like, if I'm not happy, if I'm not having a good time here, if I'm not taking good care of myself, in terms of having fun, in terms of like really making good money for myself, how can I make other people happy, or how can I offer anything?
Correct.
I have to be the one in my own world, in my universe, to be happy. I am my responsibility.
Yes.
If I'm not happy, there's nothing I can offer.
Yeah. So, the first principle we talked about was taking 100% responsibility for the quality of our life. And I think if you remember, we talked about, 3 things we have control over: the thoughts we think, the behaviors and images we hold in our minds, and the actions we take. So that's the only 3 things we have control over. So
I'm going to watch this show again and again and again.
So what thoughts we are thinking, what behaviors do we demonstrate, and what actions are we taking is going to determine our experience in life.
Because all I'm thinking about most of the time is work. And after the workshop I did with you, I have this admin table. I never pay attention to admin. And now I'm paying the attention to the admin, and money started to flow in, and things started to really work out.
Good.
And then it's just anyway, I have to balance myself, and I started to see, hey, I gotta have a break, and I gotta have some fun. So I decided for the first time in my life, I'm going to take 1 month off in this month, and then I'll be going away to somewhere else, which to me is totally outrageous. 1 month, Esther Lee. 1 week is already too much. 3 days, reasonable, but 1 month. But I really feel like I should go away and not to think about work, and not to check my WhatsApp, not to check my whatever, and then just spend time with myself, read some books, have some good food, and then spend some time in the beach, and then think.
Yeah, because I totally agree with you on that, because it gives you time for reflection. It gives you time for reflection. You reflect on, in these moments of when you're on holidays or your retreats or whatever you do, it's a time for reflection, and you reflect on your past. And when you do, introspection and reflection, you will come up with ideas and inspirations that are going to really take you forward.
I heard that from my friends. They said, you have to travel, Esther Lee, because when you travel, you have
the
fresh idea.
Yeah,
the world changes.
You meet different kinds of people. For me, the most important thing about traveling is, and not just traveling, is just like doing nothing. Actually,
That's not one-on-one.
Yeah, kind of. Ideas basically percolate, and then you come up with an idea and say, "Wow, this is something that really makes sense." You also reflect on what didn't work so well last year, or what worked well, what didn't go so well. Maybe you could do something differently. If you're overwhelmed with work, maybe you should hire somebody to help you out with work. So there's a lot of things you could come up with, strategize, and you can create new goals during that period as well. But having that time off is basically you're honoring yourself. You're honoring your body, you're honoring your spirit, you're honoring your soul, that you're celebrating the success of what you've done. Because you live only once, why not enjoy it?
Okay, we're going to have another break. The 20 minutes gone, so I'll see you later.